Okay, I'm going to read passage 2 from the 2020-2021 booklet, and this will just be the stories, and then we'll do the questions in a separate video. The bold introduction says that this is social science, and when I see social science, I think of like Dr. Phil, like the study of people. Passage A is adapted from the book Apple, A Global History by Erica Janik. Passage B is adapted from the article The Fatherland of Apples by Gary Nabhan. Passage A by Erica Janik. In early September of 1929, Nikolai V., famed Russian plant explorer and botanist, arrived in the Central Asian crossroads of Alma Ata Cay, climbing up the Z Alto slopes and the Tian Shan Mountains, separating the Kazakhstan from China. You'll notice I'm not worrying about the pronunciation because I don't want to slow down. Vavilov found thickets of wild animals stretching in every direction, an extensive forest of fruit colored russet red, creamy yellow, and vibrant pink. Nowhere else in the world do apples grow thickly as a forest or with such incredible diversity. Amazed by what he saw, Vavilov wrote, I could see with my own eyes that I had stumbled upon the center of origin for the apple. With extraordinary prescience and few facts, Vavilov suggested that the wild apples he had seen growing in the Tian Shan were, in fact, the ancestors of the modern apple. He tracked the whole process of domestication in the mountains near the Alma Ata, where the wild apples looked awfully similar to the apples found at the local grocery store. Unfortunately, Vavilov's theory would remain mostly unknown for decades. Exactly where the apple came from had long been a matter of contention and discussion among people who study plant origins. Vavilov, imprisoned by Joseph Stalin in 1940 for work in plant genetics that challenged Stalin's belief, died in Leningrad prison in 1943. Only after the fall of communism in Russia did Vavilov's theory made more than a half a century earlier become widely recognized. As Vavilov predicted, it is now believed that all of the apples known today are direct descendants of the wild apples that evolved in Kazakhstan. Apples do not compromise all of Kazakhstan's plant bounty, however. At least 157 other plant species found in Kazakhstan are either direct precursors or close wild relatives of the domesticated crop, including 90% of all the cultivated temperate fruits. The name of Kazakhstan's largest city, Alma-Ata, or Almaty, as it is known today, even translates as father of apples, or, according to some, where the apples are. So, this news about the apple's origins was probably no surprise to residents, particularly in the towns where apple seedlings are known to grow up through the cracks in the pavements. The apple has been evolving in Central Asia for upwards of 4.5 million years. Passage B by Gary Nabhan. Nikolai Vavilov is widely regarded as the world's greatest plant explorer, for he made over 250,000 seed fruit and tuber collections of 5 continents. Conservationist Tatiana Slova credits him with the first recognizing that Kazakhstan was the center of the origin and diversity for apples. It's not surprising, she concedes, that when Vavilov first came to Kazakhstan to look at the plants, he was so amazed. Nowhere else in the world do apples grow as a forest. That is one reason why he stated that it is probably where the apple was born. This was its birthing grounds. Discerning where a crop originated and where the greatest portion of its genetic diversity remains extant may seem esoteric to the uninitiated, but knowing where exactly our food comes from, geographically, culturally, and genetically, is of paramount importance to the rather small portion of our own species that regularly concerns itself with the issue of food security. The variety of foods that we keep in our fields, orchards, and secondarily in our seed banks is critically important in protecting our food supply from plagues, crop diseases, catastrophic weather, and political upheavals. Vavilov himself was personally motivated to become an agricultural scientist by witnessing several famines during his Tsarist era of Russia. He hoped that by combining more diverse seed portfolio with knowledge from both traditional farmers and collaborating scientists, the number of Russian families suffering from hunger might be reduced. In a very real sense, the forest of wild foragers and the orchards of traditional farmers and such centers of crop diversity are the well springs of diversity that plant breeders, pathologists, and entomologists return to every time our society whittles the resilience in our fields and the orchards down to its breaking point. And whittle away we have done. Here in North America, according to the apple historian Dan Bussey, some 16,000 apple varieties have been named and nurtured over the last 4 centuries. By 1904, however, the identities and sources of only 7,098 of the varieties could be discerned by USDA scientist W.H. Reagan. Since then, some 6,121 apple varieties, 86.2% of Reagan's 1904 inventory, have been lost from nursery catalogs, farmers markets, and from the American table.